I want to call our April 21st, 2022 Daviess County Fiscal Court meeting to order. Commissioner Commissioner Wathen, would you lead us in a prayer and a pledge?
Yes. Dear God, our Father, thank you for all the blessings that you have bestowed on this great country. Bless all of our employees and their families. Please bless the police and sheriff deputies, our military, and all of our first responders. Help us to make decisions that will be pleasing to you. And finally, we ask that you keep us close to you, close enough that we may spend all of eternity with you. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Commissioner Wathen. And once again, I want to welcome everyone to our April 21st, 2022 Daviess County Fiscal Court meeting. We are back on our normal regular cycle of first and third Thursdays of the month. You know that warm weather is coming if you see me in my spring jacket. I finally put it on today, even though it's chilly and rainy, because I wasn't sure I was going to get to wear it this spring, but I did. So, Jenny, are you ready?
Yes, sir. Item 1, consideration for presentation. A, proclaim April 22nd as Fair Housing Month, April 2022.
Whereas the strength of our nation and all of its states flows from the promise of individual equality and freedom of choice, and whereas the anniversary of the enactment of Title VIII of the Civil Rights Act of 1968, the federal fair housing law during the month of April is an occasion for all Americans, individually and collectively, to rededicate themselves to the principle of freedom of choice and to participate in efforts to eliminate all housing discrimination. Whereas Title VIII of the Civil Rights Act of 1968 guarantees citizens that critical element of freedom of choice and the selection of a home, and whereas fair housing is the policy of Daviess County, Kentucky, and the implementation of that policy requires positive commitment, involvement, and support of all citizens, and whereas barriers diminishing rights and options to any citizen will ultimately diminish the rights and options of all. Now, therefore, I, Daviess County Judge Executive Al Mattingly, do hereby proclaim the month of April 2022 as Fair Housing Month in Daviess County, and urge all citizens to join us in reaffirming the obligation and commitment to fair housing opportunities for all. Are you here to accept it? Well, come forward then. We'll give this to you. I'm not fight. Come on up here. No, get around here. No, I'm going to give this to you. What I want you to do is we will in a minute go over and tell us who you are, what you're representing, and when you get done, then we're going to come down and get pictures. Okay? David, make sure that is on for all. I think it worked. There you go.
I am Taylor Burchett. I am here on behalf of the Green River Area Development District to accept the proclamation for Fair Housing Month.
You got to tell us more than that. We've got you scheduled for 3 minutes.
They didn't tell me to prepare anything, Judge.
I'm just messing with you. Let's go down and get our picture.
He usually tells me we don't have any more time.
Yeah, I was willing to give you some extra time, and here you are.
I choked him. I know.
She knows, she sees me at our meetings.
Okay.
I'm no different here than there, right? All right. 1, 2, 3. Smile on that. Good. All right. Thank you very much. And you don't have to stay. If I were you, I'd go.
Cool.
Mark, be careful. Cool. I'll be talking about you. Be careful. Jenny, next item.
Yes, sir. Item B, Rural Secondary Program Recommendations by KYTC's Scott Phelps.
Well, before Scott gets up there, I think we have someone else that wants to come and talk to us.
Yes, yes, you do. Members of Fiscal Court, thanks for the opportunity to come here and speak with you all and present our projects we are going to recommend for rural secondary program this year. My name is Matt West. I am the branch manager for project delivery and preservation in Branch 2 of KYTC District 2, which is a fancy way of saying construction and maintenance. So, it's okay. I've got Scott Phelps. He manages, he's a section supervisor, transportation engineer in our Owensboro section, which covers Daviess County. And he manages our payment programs out of that office. And he's going to present our projects for this year. And then after that, if I'll come back up and answer any questions you all have related to KYTC and Daviess County.
And for your information, Matt asked us to be gentle with Scott, since this is going to be, I think, his first time to come up. So come on up, Scott.
And here I prepared for a grilling.
I'm prepared for a grilling too, and it's not hamburgers and chicken.
Well, Judge, I just want to say I understand that this will probably be the last time that we're coming before you. And just want to say congratulations. And we'll dive into what we've got. Now, the first page is what you are the most interested in, which is the funding. These numbers are the same numbers as last year because being a budget year, we did not have the budget numbers sent out to us. And I'm hoping you'll notice that there is.
Scott, hold on
yes.
just a second. Jordan, I'm assuming, do you have a copy of what he's doing?
Correct.
Oh.
It's in the system. It's not on.
Okay, it's not on the screen. I just want to make sure that folks that are watching, and I don't know why they would be, but that the folks who are watching will be able to understand you. So go ahead.
So you'll notice there is the note down there that reflected a 10% reduction due to COVID. I'm hoping those funds are coming back this year, but I just don't have the numbers to say for sure. So I just left them the same, which was $278,000 for Daviess County in flex funds, and our funds are $723,000. So our recommendation, number one, is for 1554 to start at the Audubon Parkway and continue that all the way over to US 60. You may recall a few years ago, that was the detour when work was being done on 60. So took a lot of heavy truck traffic. So we're hoping to be able to bring that back up with a new surface of asphalt. So ADT on that road is 1,258 vehicles a day, or that's average annual daily truck traffic. And I'm hoping we're going to be able to come in at 373,000 on that one. The next is not too far from there. It's Kentucky 456. Again, asphalt resurfacing. That is the whole length of that road. It's 3.39 miles going from Kentucky 56 all the way over to Kentucky 500. And ADT on that one is 317 and looking at 254,000. The last one that we have on here is Kentucky 500. That connects in with 456 there, and that is the whole length of that road. Again, it's 3.18 miles going from Kentucky 56 to the end of state maintenance. And average annual daily truck traffic of 235 and looking at around $238,000.
So for folks who are looking, the Kentucky 500 runs from St. Joe to Curdsville. That's that entire length from St. Joe to Curdsville. If you go out Kentucky 56, where you turn hard left to go to St. Joe and go straight, that is Kentucky 456. Isn't that correct, Mark?
It is right before West Louisville.
Yeah.
Turn
Right.
onto 456.
And then 1554 is right there where that's the Audubon exit. From the
Yes.
Audubon exit, and it runs over to
260,
260.
or over to US 60, yes.
Okay. So that would be going north from the
North of the
Audubon exit.
Parkway, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Commissioners, any questions of those three roads?
I got a question, Judge.
Yes, sir.
Based on your estimate amount of money and the amount of miles that you're suggesting, and with the increase in the fuel cost, do you think that's still doable to be able to do that? In other words, take the one page of Kentucky 500 or Kentucky 56 at 3.18 miles at $238,000, and I look at the increase in fuel. Is that still doable to be able to asphalt that many miles for that price?
It might be a little bit of a stretch but two of those roads are narrow, being
Right.
456 and 500, they're not very wide. And 1554 is a little bit wider, but we're gonna have to see how that plays out. I may have to beg for some additional funds, but
Okay.
we can try.
Thank you.
And the flex funds are the 20% of the funds that are dedicated to rural and secondary roads. You used to bring us a recommendation if we wanted to use it, but commissioners, it took us 12 years, but finally they have brought us a recommendation since
Well-
we wouldn't let them use the money.
I do have a request.
Forget it.
Well,
Forget
if
it.
you just hear me out, I just want $1. So I can
Okay.
call Jason Ward and say, he'd give us access, but not you.
I do like him a little better. Mark. Well, I'm going to show you how much I like you. How in the world am I to be assured that you'll do these when you haven't done several that we have waiting, such as 815, and we're supposed to get shoulders there? I don't know how in the heck, I said heck, how in the heck are you going to put shoulders on 815 when one side has a ditch that flows water out of a seeping hillside, by the way, or seeping coal mine, and then 764. We're still waiting for those from last year.
I have to admit, I have egg on my face on that one. What I thought was going to be a simple project turned into a nightmare. Going back and forth with Frankfurt over what they wanted, it is still in the works. It's going to happen. It's just a matter of designing the culvert extensions on that, because Frankfurt did not want to use my idea. They wanted it to be designed. So as soon as I can get that design out of our people in Frankfurt, because I can request funding to be sent out to an engineering firm, but they take funds away for that. So I'm waiting on our designers to give me those designs on 850.
Well, I guess my concern at the time that we had money to do those, oil was at $50 a barrel, and now oil's at $100 a barrel, and you got a heck of a lot of oil in asphalt. Is the state gonna give you extra money to complete those roads?
We're still talking to them about doing those roads. Like I said, we are still going back and forth with the design people so we can continue those. They have not been killed. They're still in the process.
Are you the one I talked to about drainage along one of our roads? Well, I'm gonna talk to you
Usually talk to
anyway.
Mark.
Well, I talked to Mark, he talked to you, and nothing's happened, so that's why I
Which
want to
one?
make sure. Kentucky 81,
Oh.
right across from Wayne Bridge Road, right near Roman Meadows. That's the road that drains water away from Roman Meadows, and they've got a lot of backyards that are flooding because that needs to be ditched out, and we still haven't
Is that
seen it.
included in that 81 project? We've got a project in the works for highway safety improvement, and it includes some ditch work, but I'm not sure if it covers that portion.
Well, I guess I don't want to wait. I don't want to see you guys wait, because we reported a blockage in a bridge on Reed Road several years ago, and even offered to take it out ourselves because it was going to rain really hard. You lost the bridge, and it caused a heck of a lot of problem for the citizens who had to use Reed Road. Now we've got Roman Meadows, which is a lot of people living in Subdivision, and they've already got water standing in their backyards. And I've got a bunch of folks up at Roman Meadow, or in Brownwood Manor, who think that we don't know what we're doing because they've got water from seeping hillsides under their crawl space. Only been there for 50 years, and you don't have a thing to do with it. But I'm just using the two to show what can happen.
What's the
when things-
nearest crossroad?
I'm sorry?
Do you know what the nearest crossroad is?
On
to
that one?
mark?
Yeah,
Wayne Bridge Road.
Wayne Bridge
Wayne Bridge,
Road.
okay.
It's not a crossroad, it's an intersection. So I mean, I'm not sitting here beating you up, but I am grilling you. It is very frustrating when you report things and it takes forever. And COVID, I understand COVID, everybody understands COVID. But it really bothers me when we had a reduction in road money because of COVID. And if you just follow the General Assembly here lately, and I understand none of the money used on roads comes out of the General Assembly or out of the general fund. But the general fund is through the roof. You would expect that the road fund would see some increase or something, but maybe I'm wrong. Commissioner Wathen, any commissioners, do you have anything else to say?
Well, I'm just curious on those 2 roads you mentioned.
Yes.
That haven't been done.
Yes.
What was the holdup on?
KYTC. It's not us, we're not putting any money into it, and these are rural and secondary state roads. And they were on the list. It's not us holding it up because we passed a resolution saying, we agree with you. So I have to look at, these gentlemen weren't perhaps the ones that need to take the whooping, but they happen to be the closest ones to our, and all we can do is tell them and you take it back, and I'm sure they'll take it back. But it just is, it's frustrating sometimes, and we have to then turn around and deal with the citizens that, hey, why not? And lots of times they don't even realize that these are state roads under the purview of the state. They're not county roads under the purview of the county. So anyway, that's the holdup, I'm assuming. I think, Scott, thank you very much for that presentation. You can tell Jason that at least you got out of here with no bruises. Matt, would you come back up? I think Commissioner Wathen has a question for you.
Yes, sir.
I was just curious, we get a lot of calls about Frederick Street. Wondering how that's coming along.
Yes, we get them too, and that's a major primary road, and it falls under a different pavement management program than the rural secondary, and it's got a lot of different rules and things we got to follow with that. However, I've asked for 4 years to get that road bumped up. This year we got it bumped up to like number 7. We've got funding for 12 of those, the top 12, or should, based off current prices. And we've got a project sent up to Frankfurt into construction procurement, and we should get that led to construction in the next couple of months, and then have a completion date of this year to hopefully get that completed and resurfaced.
I was talking to Representative DJ Johnson the other day. As a matter of fact, some people were beating the county up over Frederick Street as a result of a conversation going on about Brownwood Manor. And DJ said, the money is there. It will get done this year. The issue, and just for clarification, and this is just a dumb old plumber talking, a lot of the problem that we've got out there is the underlying bed with all the water. There's water under everything out there. Any project that was ever done has to be dewatered. There's not proper drainage under that road, and it will continue to erode away. So if you think repaving it and it's last 15 to 20 years, that's not.
Well, that is it's a longer term fix than us going out and continuously potholing it every day. It has been put on a rehab list for complete pavement rehabilitation. However, there hasn't been funding for that, and that's been kind of the argument with the FDL5 program. With they don't want to pave it because of the base failures and subgrade, and so.
But they are gonna use a process where they will put fiber.
Yes, we're-
Double the amount of fiber they
Yes, sir.
normally put.
And that should help keep that from, should prolong the life of it.
Okay.
It adds pavement strength to the pavement.
I'm eager to see, Denitra mentioned that in our last TAC meeting and MPO meeting. And I specifically, when she said they were gonna repave it, resurface it, I specifically asked her if they were gonna fix the base, and she said no, but they were gonna do what the judge just said, so.
Yes, sir. And we plan to just put a overlay. In the past, we've milled an inch off, inch and a quarter, or inch and a half off, and then put it back, and there's only about 4 inches of asphalt over that. It's concrete subgrade under there. It's old concrete road that we paved over.
I did not know that.
And
Okay.
so it's only got about 4 inches of asphalt over top of that concrete. So we're gonna put another inch and a half over it instead of taking that off, and hopefully that'll provide a little additional strength and
And
get
that
some
fact-
extended life out of it.
And that fact adds to the problem when you've got concrete joints everywhere there's a joint, it's eventually gonna come to the top. Once it comes to the top and cracks, now you got water in it, and you're gonna have a much quicker failure of the, we saw that in the city, Charlie, when they decided they'd pave over the concrete streets of the city because it's too expensive to replace concrete, and then we started seeing every 8 foot, oh, look at that, it cracked.
Wherever that transverse,
Especially the poet section.
In the
where I
poet
used-
section in particular, yes.
wherever those transverse joints were sawed, that's where it shows up through the asphalt.
Okay,
so.
commissioners, any other questions or comments? Guys, thank you.
I will
and-
say,
and-
I'm just curious, is Frederica Street the worst in the district, or?
Currently, probably between that and the 41 strip, which also has concrete under it. And then the natural I-165 concrete section there, where it's got 50-plus-year-old concrete that we tried to rehab a couple of years ago instead of replace. And so it's one of the top ones. I'm not going to tell you anything.
It's certainly the worst I've been on in Davis County.
We get a lot of calls on it, and we've made it a priority, and so we're gonna try to get something done this year with it. And
Mark, before he gets out, I would be remiss if I didn't beat on him about 298, just past the Hillcrest subdivision and the curve on the, I guess that would be the west side of that road, a ditch that just holds water forever. And it's a roadside ditch, but you guys can't seem to get out there. And have you told them lately? Have you beat on them lately?
I think we visited it probably 3 or 4 years ago. I believe there's a pipe underneath of it that may go through a yard, and so.
we'll go. We'll give them Mark, Scott, and we'll go look at that. We'll look at the 81 issue next week. And
Lastly, did you get in touch with them about the on-ramp off of Carter Road heading west on 60?
I emailed Scott today.
Okay. That's if you want to go by there and look, it's starting to eat into the asphalt. I guess last night's rain really made it. There's an erosion of that road bed itself, and it's starting to eat into the asphalt. So,
and Scott will make a priority of the past presentations to get those out to.
if you guys have
construction.
someplace to be, you're welcome to leave. I wouldn't hang around. I think we have the rural secondary resolution on the agenda tonight, so we'll have that done and get it to you. So hopefully we can get these roads done quicker than 764 and 815.
Yes, sir.
Okay?
Thank you for the opportunity to be here
All
tonight.
right, thanks. Jenny?
C, Davis County Extension District fiscal year 22-23 budget.
Commissioners, in your packet, you have a budget, and I'm trying to find it from the Extension District. I can tell you their tax rate did not go up. They do a heck of a job for their 9/10 of 1 cent tax rate. They are spending within their revenue stream because they are a SPGE, a special governmental entity. They have to present their budget to us for us to approve, or no, they just present it, is all they do. And if you have any questions, I'll try to answer it. If you really have any questions, I'll try to get somebody else to answer it. But it's pretty standard. Okay, nothing. There is a copy, if the public wants to see the budget, we'll have a copy in your office, right, Jenny?
Yes, sir.
Okay, next item.
D, Treasurer's Report for March 2022.
Mr. Hendricks?
Cash balance at the end of March, $61,595,001. The general fund is $25,786,281. The funds are performing within the expected range. I received a notice today that the second tranche of the ARPA funding should be available in the next month. So they'll contact me when it's time for me to go into the system to make that last transfer happen.
Okay, any questions of the treasurer? We have a couple of commissioners that have a forum tonight, and we're going to try to hustle through a whole lot of this so we can get those guys over on time. There also is a copy of the treasurer's report on file with Ms. Warren if anyone is interested in seeing it. Next item, Jenny.
Item 2, consideration for approval, A, minutes of the April 11th, 2022 Davis County Fiscal Court meeting.
Motion approved.
Second.
I have a motion and second. Commissioners, you all had a copy of the minutes in your possession for some time. Any additions, deletions, or corrections? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Next item.
B, all claims for all departments.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and second. Again, Commissioners, you all had a copy of the bills due and payable by Davis County Fiscal Court in your possession for some time. Any questions of the treasurer? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Next
C-
item.
C, fund transfers.
Motion approved.
Second.
I have a motion and second. Mr. Hendricks.
Looking for permission to transfer $220,000 from the general fund to the bond fund for the convention center and $245,406 from the solid waste operating fund and take $204,665 to the closure fund and $40,741 to the post-closure fund. These fund transfers are normal budgeted items. I request approval.
Commissioners, any question or comment? Just quickly, Jim, on your report, the cash report, the financial report that you just did, closure and post-closure funds are there. They carry pretty hefty balances. That is because we can't touch them. They're there for they're dedicated for a specific purpose.
That's correct. The money is escrowed. There's $8 million. The money is escrowed for the point in time when we walk away from the landfill and close it. The money's there to close, make sure it gets closed, and then to maintain it after that.
Okay. A lot of people will see all that cash that we got and think we're just sitting on a hoard, but we may be, but we can't use it. So, I'm sorry, yes, sir.
Does the state have a cap that we don't have to go above, or?
There's a calculation that's looked at from time to time. They have a factor that looks at as where you are at any point in time versus how much space you have left. So yeah, in fact, the last time David asked for a review about 8-9 years ago, that's when we dropped it. The rates were like $2 and $1, and now we're doing $1.25.
Okay.
So yeah, there is a cap.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other question or comment? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Next item.
D, rural secondary program as recommended by KYTC, excluding flex funds.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and second. Commissioners, you just heard the recommendations. That's what this resolution does. Any question or comment? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Next item.
E, Resolution 10, 2022, Subdivision Street Lighting District for Woodland Ridge, Unit 9.
Motion approved. Second.
I have a motion second. Jordan, you want to tell us why we were doing this again?
Yes, Judge. Resolution 522 was presented to Fiscal Court on March 22nd for this particular unit of Woodland Ridge. However, Kenergy has since altered where the lights will be installed. This changes their application, meaning the court needs to pass a new resolution to set the proper lighting district. This will work the same as all other lighting districts with collective meter costs allocated equally among all parcels within that district. Legal and myself have reviewed it. It's in order. I would recommend approval.
Okay, any question or comment? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Next item.
F, contract with Conexon LLC for fiber broadband expansion services.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion second. Commissioners, took us a long time to get here. David, what I would like for you to do is talk to us about long ago when we were all concerned and talking about this. Bring us up until last year, and then I'm going to ask Jordan to explain the bid process, what we did when we went through it, and then I've got a few comments I want to make. So have at it.
Back in March of 2021 is when the American Rescue Plan Act passed, and in that, broadband was a specifically allowed use. A couple of months later, they came out with their interim final rule, and in June, the Treasury Department said that you could take a holistic approach, meaning you could use the money to serve not just unserved areas. You could actually spend it anywhere to provide broadband. With that, you all directed staff to look into doing an RFP for the entire county. We reached out to Boone County and Warren County, which had already done RFPs processes. We contacted OMU and confirmed that they were going to extend broadband outside the city limits to non-city residents who are in their territory. So at that point, Jordan put, using the data we got from other places, along with talking with our staff, including IT and Engineer Brasher, put out an RFP in September, which asked for the required subsidy to develop a plan to serve everyone. In November, we interviewed finalists, and in December, you all had named Conexon as the preferred provider.
Let's go back. I'm going to get Jordan into that, but I want to go back. What did we do in this county for broadband prior to that? What did a rural resident do?
Some areas are served by Spectrum Cable, which provides about 100 meg service in areas close to the city and less as they get further out. Then the county had invested $300,000 in Connect Grad about 15 years ago, which is a wireless system based on 900 megahertz, which once streaming started, I think it's supposedly could do about 1 megabyte, which was a big difference compared to dial-up, but unfortunately it doesn't handle streaming. And once the water districts and Kenergy went to a 900 megahertz wireless meter system, you started getting interference, limiting its usefulness. So
when I became judge executive, Connect Grad had roughly 4,400 customers. We are now under 2,000 customers. And part of the issue, you're right, because I attended a Kenergy meeting and we finally were able to get Kenergy and Connect Grad and engineers for the equipment together and talk, and they changed the way they would download the updates to Kenergy's wireless meter reading or meter-made list reading system. And then I think Atmos Energy went to it, and everybody in the utility field started going to that. And it was just, it wasn't working as well as we would like, although we had someone who actually, Jason, what was Jason's last name that used to be back here? Jason from Ohio County. But he thanked us for having Connect Grad because even though it wasn't the best. Jason Simon, even though it wasn't the best, it allowed him to get his BA degree online. So fast forward to the pandemic and kind of tell us what the fiscal court did to relieve and remediate some of those issues.
one of the things, so when the pandemic hit, the court went out and I think we purchased about 10 wireless cellular signal Wi-Fis and placed them at all the fire stations. Some of them have better wireless cellular coverage than others, but they are all getting used actually pretty extensively. The most popular one is at Pleasant Ridge.
And one of the problems, we even had one in Sargo that one of the private purveyors was very close to us. We couldn't get them to do what we needed them to do. It just, when you're talking about a rural community, as you get further and further from the urban suburban areas, it becomes less profitable for private companies to serve. And I understand that. The people who are in business are there to make a profit, but at the same time, it became just unprofitable. And I heard citizens come to and tell us that they were being quoted $50,000 to run a line to their house down the road. So thank you for that. Jordan, I want you to get into a little bit more into the bid process and what we went through.
As Mr. Smith said, in December of '21, Fiscal Court selected Conexon as our successful respondent. In January of '22, Morley and Associates was selected as the consultant firm to prepare and negotiate our contract with them. Negotiations spanned through February, with the final agreement completed in March and signed by Conexon on April 1st of '22. In this contract, the county will provide $10 million of ARPA funds for Conexon to make available fiber internet service to 100% of Kennergy's electric membership that falls outside the service area of OMU in Daviess County, Kentucky. The project will be completed within 18 months and paid out on a percentage of completion basis. The project area encompasses roughly 15,000 to 20,000 household and business locations.
18 months
Yes, sir.
from the date that we signed the contract and dot all the i's and cross all the t's. Claude, you reviewed the contract,
I did, Judge,
and
and it meets all, as far as requirements, legality, employment, meets all those
Okay.
requirements.
And Jordan, I heard you say that we had a consultant regarding preparing the contract, and because we don't know anything about internet or broadband, so we had somebody do that.
Yes, sir.
One of the things that this court got beat up, and I got beat up particularly several years ago, was that when a certain purveyor was trying to provide internet to folks, they were going to provide it, and it was in like 6 stages, but there was no guarantee that those final 3 stages, which were the more rural of our citizens, the less dense populations would get served. And I opposed it because I wanted every citizen in Daviess County that wanted broadband, and you commissioners wanted every citizen in Daviess County that wanted broadband. As a matter of fact, I want to personally thank Commissioners Castlin, Commissioner Wathen, and Commissioner Koger for their perseverance and their push to make sure that this went through, that we were able to do it. I know that you hear all kinds of campaign political promises and pledges that we're going to bring broadband. Well, I don't know, that may be one of those promises that you can take off the table, because this commission is in the process of bringing broadband to 100% of the people in Daviess County. And you guys are instrumental in doing it. And one of the things I want to thank Senator McConnell and Representative Guthrie, because they encouraged from the very beginning, they encouraged that we take ARPA money and spend it where it would have a huge impact on the community. And short of what Commissioner Wathen said several years ago regarding the OCTC Phase 2, we'll never know, and George, I remember you saying it, we'll never know the impact that has had on our community. I guarantee you, we will never know nor understand the impact that having broadband available, affordable broadband will have on the citizens in our community. So again, I want to thank, first of all, I want to thank David. I want to thank you, Jordan and Jim. I think Mark even got involved. Claude, your staff, anybody that had anything to do with it. I want to thank everybody for their support and in persevering on getting this done. It's a really big deal for our community, particularly those in the rural community. I don't know how many calls I've gotten from people who want to locate here, but they were all concerned they couldn't get enough broadband, enough bandwidth to work from home. Telehealth is going to be extremely important going forward. With this, you now have people who don't have to worry about going directly to the doctor. They can dial them up. Homeschooling, you know, hopefully we don't have issues with the pandemic anymore, but homeschooling, if we'd have had this 2 years ago, it would have been much easier on parents and kids. So it's really a big deal. Commissioners, I'm going to open it up, let you talk for a while.
I'm very pleased with that this day's come. I had a lady reach out to me probably 2 times in the last couple months saying that their service provider had suffered some damage. I want to say back in December when the Mayfield tornado hit.
Could get parts.
Right. And so they've been without, and they've been very frustrated, and I told her this is coming, and I gave her a date that I thought we were going to be voting on it, and then she sent me a note and said, hey, you didn't vote on it like you said. I said, no, it's coming this day, so.
Some things get
anyway.
delayed.
Yes. So I'm just very pleased this day's come.
Commissioners, anything on that end?
Just want to say, I'm glad to see it happen. It's going to be a major impact on a lot of people's lives. And I'm just glad we can pull it off.
My only comment would be just glad that we had the extra funds to be able to do this, because without those funds, it would probably be delayed longer.
We would still be looking. Now, there is a company that's talking about doing it throughout our area, but there again, they're going to do it to the most dense parts of the county, and there is no guarantee that everybody gets it. Jordan, I want to talk to you in just a second about what's going to happen at our next meeting, or is that you, David? I'm sorry. Well, you can tell us then if you want to. It doesn't matter. Jordan, tell me, Conexon's going to be here, right? Our
Yes.
partner is going to be
When this
here.
is approved, Conexon will be available to attend our next court meeting, which will be May 5th. And they'll give a presentation on project steps, scope, timeline, and cost. And this presentation will be streamed online and recorded, so it can be made available to anybody who has any questions.
Okay. We will, Jordan, I want to make sure that evening we do have that streamed and we take questions that people would have. The courtroom is open if anybody wants to come in particularly. One of the reasons, or one of the good things about Conexon, they are ready. They have the fiber on hand. They have the labor to install it. The reason we moved as quickly as we could is that we didn't want to be fifth in line. We want to be first in line so that we know that they can meet that date. Now, there are going to be some people out there, I guarantee you, who ask, well, you just spent $10 million to subsidize some private company to put broadband into Daviess County. Yes, we did. And we did it to make sure that those people that live down at the end of a lane or a gravel road would have the same access that everybody had. So, and the good news is it's not direct tax dollars out of your pocket, it's ARPA funds, and I think this probably meets the guidelines. This is one of the best projects that we will do that will meet all those ARPA guidelines.
And it's not unlike what we did with the water when we first became county elected officials. To try to get potable water to the far ends of those who were not being served.
That's correct.
And I would argue it's not much different than back when electricity was first being spread around the country. That, you know, the process.
If you know, once you get it out there, and these folks that this is going to will have skin in the game, they're going to pay the fees.
Right.
I mean, but we're going to have it available to every house. So, any other questions, comments? Okay, commissioners, let's make a vote that I'm very happy to vote on. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Folks, it's going to be there before you know it. Next item, Jenny.
G, award bid number 27, 2022, 6 new wireless controlled scoreboards, parks.
Move to approve.
Second.
Have a motion second. Jordan?
Yes, Judge, this bid is for the provision of 6 new wireless-controlled scoreboards for all 6 fields at Panther Creek Park. We received 2 bids ranging from $23,179.50 to $26,578.38. Recommend award to the lowest and best evaluated bid submitted by Varsity Scoreboards for the 6 2022 VS 3385 boards in the total amount of $23,179.50. This replacement will be expensed from the budgeted parks maintenance funds. There were no exceptions to our specifications, and I would recommend approval.
Question or comment? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next item.
H, appoint Leah Christian to the PVA Assessment Appeals Board for a 3-year term effective May 3rd, 2022.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and second. She takes the place of Angela Clark. I want to thank Angela for her service. I'm sure Leah will do a good job going forward. Any question or comment? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next item.
I accept the retirement and resignation of Senior Heavy Equipment Operator Tim Cecil effective April 30, 2022.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and second. I want to thank Tim for his 23 years of service. Mark, last time I was on the job, I thought he had already retired. Just pass it on to him. Tell him I said
I will
that.
let him know you said that.
All right. Do you have anything to say about him?
I appreciate his time with Daviess County Fiscal Court. The road department has been a great asset to us over the years. Hope he has the best of luck and enjoys his retirement.
Okay. Any other question or comment? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next item.
J, accept the retirement resignation of EMA Planner Vicki Connor effective April 30th, 2022.
Motion approved.
Second.
I have a motion and second. I want to thank Vicki for her service to Daviess County Fiscal Court and EMA and wish her the best in her retirement. Any question or comment? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next item.
K, promote Michael Reed to Service Technician effective April 18, 2022.
Motion approved.
Second.
I have a motion and second. Mark, this is just a promotion from within the ranks, correct?
Correct.
Congratulations, Mr. Reed. Any question or comment? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next item.
L, hire James Jackson as Service Technician effective upon successful completion of pre-employment screening.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and second. Mark, a replacement?
It is replacing someone that has left county service.
Okay. Any question or comment? Mr. Jackson, welcome to the team. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next item.
M, second reading of KOC A.100.05, 2022, Budget Amendment Number 5.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and second. Mr. is it Mr., who is that?
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks.
This budget amendment, we're basically just serving as a flow-through for this grant. It's a federal CDBG grant for $1 million that's going to Oasis to help them purchase the property that they need to move. So again, Fiscal Court is just serving as a flow-through. This is the second reading. I recommend approval.
Any questions or comments? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next item.
Item 3, consideration for discussion, A, other business to be brought before the Daviess County Fiscal Court.
Do you have any?
No, sir.
Next item.
B, public comments.
This is time in a meeting in which we would ask the public to come forward, identify themselves at the podium, and they would be welcome to speak on any item other than what was on the agenda. I see no one approaching. Next item.
C, first quarter employee anniversaries.
All right, well, we have Steve Wilkerson, Building and Grounds. He's been with us 15 years. Thomas O'Hearn, Building and Grounds, 10 years. And Jeff King, Road Inspector, 5 years. Charlie, it doesn't seem, and Mark, it doesn't seem like it is that long, because I know Charlie and I attended Jeff's retirement at City Hall.
Right.
And then it's just like a bad penny, he showed up over here. So anyway, all you guys, we really appreciate the service that you've given to the citizens of Davis County. Next item, Jenny.
D, comments by Daviess Fiscal Court.
Commissioner Koger,
Pass.
Commissioner Wathen,
Pass.
Commissioner, what's your name, Caslin?
Castling, yeah, pass.
Pass. Folks, I think it was last week, last Tuesday, we had a petition to name a section of Old 144 Nanny Bell Loop. The signs are up. It is now officially Nanny Bell Loop.
All right.
Couple of things that I would like to address, and one of them I continue to hear from folks who are upset that KYTC moved the DMV, where you get your driver's license, real ID, out to our operations center on Highway 81. They're upset. They're upset with the city. They're upset with the county. Let me assure you that the city and county does not operate the driver's license bureau. That's operated through KYTC. And for those who don't understand and don't have the rest of the story is this: when the circuit court clerks, meaning the clerk that ran the licensing bureau, not just her, but not just our clerk, but all the clerks decided that they didn't want to do real ID and they didn't want to do driver's licenses, that was taken over by KYTC, and in their infinite wisdom, they decided that they were going to have regional offices. And they were going to put them in, Mark, how many districts do we have? 10? 12?
Yeah.
12. There are 12 district offices across the state. So that meant that there were going to be 12 district regional driver's licensing offices. Well, I didn't like that very much. The commissioners didn't like that. So I had worked with Secretary Jim Gray when Jim was mayor, and I called him up and I said, look, we've got 103,000 people in our county. What in the world are we doing going to have to drive to Madisonville to get a driver's license? He said, Al, let me see what I can do. And he did. He said, we're going to put a driver's license office in Davis County. He said, can you help us find a location? And we did. Jordan, how many places did we show them downtown?
Locations downtown.
2 locations, one at the Shirt Singer building that we had just recently acquired. Then we offered them the second floor offices up here. They chose not to locate in downtown Owensboro, and I'll leave it up to you, but if anybody has ever tried to get their driver's license renewed at the Judicial Center, it took you a while to find a parking place. You drove around. They didn't like that. So rather than lose them, we said, well, we've got some space at the Highway 81 office. We took them out there. They fell in love with it and opened up offices out there. Plenty of parking for their employees, plenty of parking for the customers that come out there. Let me tell you about that regional office. It's the busiest office in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Busiest office. We have people coming from everywhere to this office. Now, I know it's a pain for some folks. They've got to go out there, but it's always been a pain for some folks to come down here. So the question is it more of a pain for our folks to go a mile out the highway or 40 miles to Madisonville? That was the choice, guys. It wasn't a choice about, it was a choice about keeping them here or losing them. And I agree with some of the things that I've heard, but I also talked to Harry Pettigo today, and some of the homeless folks at St. Benedict's, they have a van and they take them out there. And I guarantee you that we have churches that would provide transportation. I talked to Grits will provide transportation. I keep hearing that, you know, the city and the county ought to provide bus routes out there. Well, it's outside the city, yes, and the city bus routes do not go outside of the city. But there are plenty of opportunities for transportation. So I just wanted people to understand that, yes, it may be a pain on occasion, but it'd be a much bigger pain if you had to go to Madisonville, get your driver's license renewed. With that, commissioners, good luck tonight. I'll be watching you anxiously.
You sure there isn't something else we can discuss before we leave?
Do you want to? Commissioner! If there's no other business to be brought before Daviess County Fiscal Court without exception, we're adjourned.